Okay, we're going to be covering the biggest questions, the biggest FUD that is out there about Pulsechain. And some of these things, though I don't see it as a cause of concern, I do think it might be a cause to maybe reevaluate some of the expectations that you might have in regards to your expectations with the price of Hex, with the price of PLS and PLSX. Now let's go with the first one. Now I got this from the comments below. So someone says that too much supply, approximately 133 trillion, so it will take years to have significant price gains. No, it will not, right? Here's the thing, right? Despite the fact that we have a high supply, what matters is the amount of volume, and what matters is what market participants do. If everyone goes out and dump their coins, yes, you will not have, there won't be really that great price performance for those who sacrificed, right? If everybody goes out and if everybody holds onto their coins and refuses to sell, there will definitely be massive price appreciation of the cryptocurrencies despite the total supply. Right, so I don't think it all depends on how the game is played. However, this is what I think. I think that at this point you obviously need to be building up your fiat position in case you do get a dip, so that you can deploy that capital to acquire more coins. Because in the long term, despite the fact that we might have an initial dip after launch, in the long term, I think the price performance will be really, really good. Right. Now, the second point is that transaction costs are so low, one doesn't need many PLS to do many transactions, which results in less demand. I think that perspective comes from a perspective of saying that utility equals value, and utility is not equal value, right? What's the utility of Bitcoin? Send and receive, that's all, right? And maybe store of value, but now, all cryptocurrencies can have an argument to say we are a store of value as well, but the utility is not that big compared to something like Ethereum. But still, Bitcoin is still the big dog in the space. Now, over time, I think Ethereum will outpace Bitcoin, or maybe Pulsechain will outpace Ethereum, and maybe Pulsechain will be the number one cryptocurrency out there. But utility is not equal value, right? I mean, what's the utility of Dogecoin? Look at the price performance in the bull run. What's the utility of SafeMoon, of Shiba Inu? All these are the meme coins. I would argue they don't have much utility, but still they have significant value. So don't think that the value of PLS tokens comes solely from just the transaction fees. It's not just that. There's obviously, but if you want to talk about utility, we've got transaction fees, but we obviously also have, I think you might have proof of stake, so you might have a DAO involved there, so you have some governance token as well, who knows, right? So, and now we have the third point is OA holding 90% of supply, which is opposite of decentralization. Well, it's centralization of ownership is different from centralization of the network itself, right? I mean, obviously, all blockchains, all crypto projects have some form of centralized ownership. There are some big whales that exists, right? If you look at it, even Ethereum itself, right? When it started off, you had Vitalik and I think lots of coins. You have Charles Hoskinson. I don't know what he did with his coins. The early people in Ethereum had all the coins, just like the early people in Bitcoin had all the coins. And do you know that some people didn't sell from the beginning days? Yeah, not many, but some people didn't. Imagine how much economic power they have. So centralization of ownership is not always a bad thing, right? I mean, Richard Hart himself gives an example of Elon Musk, how much Tesla shares he owns, right? Look at Mark Zuckerberg, how much of the Facebook Meta stock does he own? He owns a significant amount. So yeah, we do have centralization of ownership, but it's not necessarily bad, but it is a trust factor, right? Because obviously at this point you definitely have to trust that Richard Hart won't dump the coins. But I've asked myself this question once before, right? That what if something happens to Richard and then he leaves the coins to someone who's not who doesn't have the best interest of the projects in hand, in his mind or heart or whatever. I do think that simple and straightforward. If Richard Hart were to do things that are not in line with the success of Pulsechain, I think he could largely, at most part, he would be forgiven. But if he was to hand over the keys to someone else who would do things that are against the success of the project, people would fork that person's coins out and continue on without him. Think about it. Look at what happened with Justin Sun with Steemit, right? Steemit was a decentralized social network, and Justin Sun bought a controlling stake because the governance is controlled by the tokens. So whoever controls the largest amount of coins can decide the direction a coin goes. So Justin Sun bought a controlling stake of Steemit, and then what did the community do? They forked him out and moved on with their own blockchain, with their own social network called Hive. So if he was to do anything that was not in the best interest of Pulse, people would fork him out. Or if he leaves the coins in someone else, people would fork him out. I do think that Richard Hart himself has got a lot of goodwill, so people are not going to do that. But if the coins were to get into someone else's hands who doesn't have the good interest, people would fork that person out. So that one, I don't think it's a big problem, especially within the crypto space, right? I mean, this is true decentralization. Right now, we have only 33 validators, which results in making it less secure as compared to other chains, which has about 1,000 validators. Again, very, very centralized. Okay, this is another point, right, that we get. But I've got to tell you this, right? I mean, right now on Ethereum, right, you can say decentralized. How much are you paying for transaction fees? $100. The most, I mean, when at the core of crypto technology was let's bank the unbanked, let's help give access to financial tools to people who don't have it. And it has been life-changing for a lot of people, right? That has been life-changing for a lot of people. But it's simply not accessible at $20 per transaction on Ethereum. It's just not. So that's a big, big problem. And the fact that, do you really need 33 validators are enough? As long as, look, the fact that you have 33 validators, but you also can move from, and it is a proof of stake, right? So you can move from, so it's not, the number 33 is not the important number. The important number is how the delegators, those that delegate, or the amount of PLS tokens that delegate the direction or who validates. That's the most important. Right? Because if you look at, for example, even EOS, right? They've got, I don't know how many delegators they have, but still, if a delegator, there's always several delegators on standby. So all in all, there's possibly about hundreds of delegators, but the delegators that are live at any given time are less than, maybe 33. So I anticipate that we'll have a similar thing with Pulse, that there might be 33 validators live, but obviously people can always move their stake and vote for another delegator. So it's not really a big issue. Those are my thoughts on. I think you raised some very, very important points there, but I don't think that they are that big of a problem. Now, for me, in my opinion, the one issue that I do think that could be an issue is the fact that what some people say is, I saw this, someone commented this again in one of the videos that I did, and it really touched me, right? I was like, yeah, this guy's making sense. He said that one thing about Pulsechain is this, that everyone is bullish. Everyone is bullish. No one is bearish at all. Everyone is bullish. Everyone is when Moon Lambo, 10,000x in 2 years. And they say that the crowd is normally wrong. The contrarian perspective is normally the right one. I'll tell you this. I was there in the early days of Hex. In the early days of Hex, nobody thought it would succeed. So the contrarian play back then was to buy Hex, and right now the contrarian play is to not buy PLS. But here's the thing that I will tell you: I don't expect the PLS price to go below the sacrifice rate for those who sacrificed at the right time. I don't see it ever going below that. If we do get a dip, I think it would be the easiest money-making opportunity for anyone. So if you are loading up on fiat, and if we do get a dip, I would jump on that thing as fast as I can. I do think that Pulsechain will be one of the biggest players in the crypto space. So I do not expect long dips or anything like that. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. Remember, this is absolutely not financial advice, and see you again next time. Cheers.